Record to the. Okay. I'm not sure exactly what was the last query we did, but I think we were still doing something with the resume, looking for job opportunities and finding resumes, something like that. So I believe these are the queries starting from 11. Did you or any one of you try those searches or queries over the weekend? Or if you had any questions I could answer, can let me know now. And it seems that no one did have the opportunity. So let's look at some of these. I have in front of me, it's query 11. And this is where I want to restrict my search to linkedin.com. Used a site operator here in URL jobs, in text, remote. Okay, so it is the remote jobs on pages that I'm going to find within LinkedIn domain. And in text, I want to search for the words like copy editor, proofreader, copywriter. Another element added is the Florida, the word Florida there. Um, Now, what is really tricky at times, and because the search engine is not as precise in returning results with some of these notations or some of the specific type of symbols that we use. Um, so it does get a little bit flaky. Okay. One of the things we've noticed when we talk about being flaky is these two dots, which is indicating a range between the terms which we can say could be alphanumeric, but best use of it is just to use it for numbers. We did this with the zip codes previously. But now that I've added a dollar sign, this means that the dollar sign, which is hugging the figure of 36,000, is actually one term, and it is also or should also be considered in the range where we are saying it should be between 36,000 to $45,000. But it is a little bit tricky. Sometimes it works, sometimes it does not. So anyway, if I'm doing my queries, I rather not use the two dots right now as much, but I would just plainly put salaries like 36,000 or 45,000, just use the ors instead. But anyway, this is one of the things that are not delivering the results that I require with the two dots. So any questions on this query? Um, Something that you feel may not be appropriate, or we could try something different. As you can see, I'm just trying to find something within linkedin.com. Okay. Let me, why is this not disappearing? Okay, there you go. I want to use the notepad and copy. This is the query. Increase the, or zoom it in just a little bit. So this is the one. Now, one of the things that I'm predicting in this is that if the linkedin.com has in the pages or up there in the navigations the word jobs, um, as we have restricted it to appear or match with the in URL, The word jobs or its singular may be something that we have to be mindful of. So if in URL you don't have it as a plural, this could be a problem. One of the things I mentioned when we were practicing with the in URL is that it is very finicky about the precision of how you have phrased or how you have used the word, either as singular or plural. Basically, it is supposed to be matched verbatim as is with the singular or plural format. So this is the only part I would be careful about. I don't have a great deal of expectations with this part, but we will see what works. Okay, if we have to be looking at another restrictor for the salary, perhaps there is another way if the two dots are not functioning. And if you keep using it later, perhaps it'll start to shape up better and deliver more precise results. But for now, for the last, I guess, even for the last batch I did, um, we had the same problem with the two dots. So I don't know when this is going to get fixed. In any case, as you can see that this query apparently, because it is mentioned in the book, should be functional to a certain extent. We can use a, an example. Actually, I was trying it just before the lecture. I just have to fix the heating a little bit to adjust the thermostat. Just give me a moment. Sorry about that. Thank you. Okay, so let's run this one. I'm going to hit enter and see what it delivers. It's giving me in LinkedIn.com pages, which is what I'm looking for in this area due to the in-text we have used. So the word jobs, I'm sorry, the word remote, freelance, copy editor, and all of these, whichever are using in-text colon, they should be captured or at least be highlighted in the description portion. So I do find remote, I do find proofreader, I do find copy editor, and let's look at everything else as well. So going to the link, I also want to make sure that the word jobs is in URL. It's in URL. I also, and by the way, what happens if I make a mistake here and I say job? Would it do stemming and lemmatization function? Just for the sake of testing it out, we can see what it brings for us. Perhaps, okay, let's see. It brings only 5 results. The reason it brought this back to us is because the title part has the word job in it, or jobs, or, you know, just the singular part is showing it up here. See right here. That's why it's showing up. But what we'd like to get to is this word jobs. Remember that that's the directory which is important. And this is the reason why we put the word job here. or jobs is only so that the LinkedIn would take us to a page which is a navigation to the job area or the jobs area. Um, See, when we look at the LinkedIn, you see this, the first directory or the main directory has a plural form of the word jobs with an S, right? So if you had placed jobs, then you would get to this page or at least default to this area, and you should be getting more results. Because right now it is just going to match the singular part, which is the job part. That's what it is going to start to show up if we don't use it correctly. In other words, how do we make sure? Um, anyway, let's not make it too complicated. We don't have lots of time, but if I just wanted, do you remember when we did a query that had a similar problem as an example where the title part is showing the word jobs and we didn't want that word to be included in the title? Then what we did is that we used a minus sign and put minus in title colon and the exact word which we don't want to want to show up in the title part. So what, if you remember, that's what we did. So if I don't want anything that is going to show up here in the title, I would probably add another um, operator in title, but with a minus sign and use the exact word which I don't like to include in the title portion. Because this is the title. If you look at the last leg of the URL, what is shown at the last portion of it is the title of that document. Okay. But it is not something that we want because we want to go to that section or that particular area. That's why we have to be able to exclude it from the title statement. So right now I've used job. I got 5 results. If I used it correctly, the S, I got 3040 results. Okay. And this is what I'm looking for. I just needed to default to the directory portion, which is the plural jobs. And invariably, you will get a lot of results just because you have used it correctly as a directory, which is typically used, which is typically using the plural form jobs in its address or the navigation, the link itself. Now, 36,000 and 45,000. I told you this is creating a problem for us. So let's suppose we went to this one. So that's the page that we are looking at. Keep looking on the left. So any one of these could have the salary 36,000 there. So you'll have to check each one of them in the list. And again, this is more of a dynamic code. So it will keep changing, and the time difference between when it was cached and presented to us versus where the changes actually happen on the site, that time difference would probably give us a page that may not have the term. Uh, so anyway, if I want to do a search for the exact salary, I would rather change it and make it more precise without giving it a range. I would just put, or I could do dollar. 36,000. This is how it's written, I believe, with the comma in there. So could also do $45,000. Okay, so let me try this. I'll have to make it even better. I could probably do. See, there are different ways of writing the salary or the figures. Like you could write it even with the without using the comma, or you can write $36K. So if I do it this way, maybe I can get better results. Should appear somewhere. I think scrolling is not working in LinkedIn, for some reason. Anyway, I'm not able to find the 36K. It should be there somewhere. Anyway, I mean, I can't spend a lot of time looking for this figure of 36,000 or 36K. But this is the best way I'm able to phrase it. What if I force it? What if I force it? Now I'm able to see 36K, 36K, freelance copywriter. So what I did here is that I actually forced it to find exact same number in dollars. I put $36,000 within quotes. And again, these three options are there. But when you put them within quotes, basically you're reinforcing your will to, you're imposing your will to definitely find any of these three. Okay. So when things don't show up and they sort of prompt you to make some changes to the search, the first thing you do is to force the more emphasized word of interest, or where we've now enclosed it within quotations. So we've in the we did get the amount as we have placed it inside of the quotation marks. So I just want you to make a note of that, and I'm also going to put it in the
So, Mr. Navid, with the query that you built, we are not able to find the page that is showing the salary, right?
What this is, sorry, again, can you come again?
With the query that you put just now, the page is not showing the salary figures, right?
Yeah, the first one is not showing exactly the word 36,000 or the term 36,000 or 45,000. So what I did with the changes that you're looking at right now is that I have used three ways of how you may expect these figures of 36,000 with the comma, without comma, and using 36K as three options, but with the quotes enclosed. I have forced it and I have demanded the search to find results that actually have one of these three. If not all, then at least one of these three formats with the $36,000 in there.
Okay.
So earlier, when we tried search, we did quite a few with the two dots. That didn't work well.
Yeah.
Then I tried Then I tried the one with the option or this way. And that was, I mean, you can find it. It is going to be there because, that's the assumption. When you get your results returned, you'll have to go to the pages, dig in more, maybe in the source code, maybe somewhere that you have to click
Mm.
on to navigate to. So just to avoid all that trouble, and I just want something that is available to me in the description portion of the snippet, which is specifically mentioning these or any of these. I used an enforcer or with the quotation marks enclosed, um, you know, so that's the point that I'm making. So
So, okay. Do you want to try another website? Because there is another website, Singapore job portal, that has
sure,
usually they have the salary listed there. So maybe we can check whether the first query can
mm,
work. I will pin you
we
the
can
link.
try. Let's try it. You will have to give me some pieces of information. In
Pin you the
Singapore,
link.
do you use the LinkedIn in Singapore? Does it say SG somewhere?
Not really. But now there's another website that I ping in the group my chat to you. Maybe you can point to that website instead.
Okay, what website is it?
My careerfuture.gov.sg is a government website.
My career
Career
future.
Future
Okay.
Singapore. You can search my Career Future Singapore.
Okay. Com
Dot
dot
gov. Gov.
gov
No,
sg.
yes.
So SG is for Singapore.
Yes.
And let me get to the site first, then we'll do it. Just want to make sure it is the correct site. Okay. See, in sites like these ones where, there is a lot of, see, this coding of the
Mm.
page that you're looking at is dynamic coding, right? And it is actually pulling information from the database from what I'm looking at. That's how it seems like. But if it was more of a HTML page where, you see pages that are advertising jobs and careers and actually listing it on a page as if it is a static HTML document,
Mm.
it is easier to get to that. But in this scenario, we can try and see if it is, because the
Mm.
idea of the dynamic code really is to prevent certain level of or certain volume of information to be restricted. And unless you are registered with them or you are somewhat have the privilege to actually go beyond or go behind the uh, search database and look it up there. So when the dynamic part of it kicks in, sometimes it becomes difficult. But right now I'm going to put this as my specific site to
Mm.
look for the jobs. Okay. So I'm going to copy this, make some changes here um, in the query I'm building. So this is the query, and I probably would not use in URL jobs because I'm not sure where this would take me with the link that I'm seeing at the top. It wouldn't tell me exactly, or it doesn't default to something that is a subdirectory, but rather there is a query part here. When you see a question mark,
Oh,
this
okay.
means that it is taking you now behind to a more secure area, which is somewhat available to you. But if you keep clicking on it, it would probably, you know, not be as it would not be indexable pages by the search engine, because query means that if I don't know, I didn't open up the let me see. Let's see. Not on this one. Let me show you something. There are there is something called there are two types of links. This is very important to understand that certain links are non-indexable, and you can tell by looking at the way the address bar is structured or how the URL is different from a typically HTML type of URL. And I can show you the difference. Dynamic and static. In this example, I'm going to show you how the static link, or typically what is indexable link, is different from another link we call dynamic link. You see, this is an example of a dynamic link, and the one on top is a static link. This is more a recommended structure of how the search engines like Google would want it to be translated to in easy English language versus what is shown here, which is, a mix of alphanumeric characters, notations, and so on. So, what happens when sometimes the search engine is returning those snippets to us that might lead us to a document which has got a dynamic nature to it and information changes? It is the time difference or the time differential that creates the change in what you would eventually find when you go to the site itself versus the page which is actually cached, or the one that has those elements to it which you're searching for, yet when you click on those links it is taking you to a page or the same page which is now changed because the dynamics of how the programmable languages differ in structuring URLs. Um, and the reason for it is obvious, is because they don't want some information to remain static. They want it accessible from the database. So they actually have a function which gets or pulls it from the database. That's where mostly there is a demarcation, or there is a restraint for that those pages to not be included in the indexing. The way that you're going to determine that is by looking at the URL. So if you look at the URL, which is showing up somewhat like this one, um, never mind the port number, they don't use it anymore. But you see where there is a directory that is showing you the page. That page is actually a directory called listening module. See, right here is listening module. And after that, there is a question mark. That means that it is now a query which is going to run automatically to fetch that specific piece of document without revealing its identity or its title. And it's not difficult to identify. Like, for instance, after the query, there is a document ID which is now encrypted somewhat, or it is given a number instead of giving it a name as in text, so that the actual identity is concealed for being visible as a title or a word of a document. So it is got a number here, and then if you look at if you look carefully, you will find elements of the code like @, and then there is HL, and then there is equal to EN. So what it means is that HL is for the language, EN is for English. And then after that, you see a hashtag, and there is an encryption data or alphanumeric characters attributed to that specific area of that document, which is not something you have to be concerned about, but more to understand that this part or the last leg of it, which actually literally replaces the title or the specific document ID, is now encrypted in alphanumeric characters. So, that's how it's going to present itself with what you're looking at right now. And that's exactly what we found on that page of the government search. I guess it's a portal, and you saw the question mark. So where we have and there is another thing that is sometimes confusing for users. I don't want to get too technical, but I'm sure I'll be able to give you a slightly better understanding in a layman's term. Sometimes what happens is that the designer or the system guy, the programmer, uh, by uh, by way of masking the dynamic portion of this URL, it would translate it into something which is going to appear as a static link, because the format itself is what we call breadcrumbs. It's easily understood in English language. So it would mask the original URL and present itself as a HTML URL. When actually you click on this part or the breadcrumb part of it, which is shown in the snippet, it is actually going to take you a page which would reveal a dynamic nature of the URL or the dynamic nature of the page. If you by reading the link itself. So when you read the link, you know that it is going to take you this far, or from here and beyond. It is more of a dynamic code that is fetching that data, or it is giving it that dynamic ability to change the content or bring different results, right? So that's as far as it is going to take you, because eventually beyond this, you would want to, uh, there would always be some sort of embargo. You'll have to either register with it, or there will be some conditions for you to use pages that are behind this, or that are going to be coming after mm, this page, which is the last page indexed. And that's why sometimes you don't find the same content which otherwise previously has been cached and recorded, but when you get to the site, it has changed. Okay, so keep in mind, I mean, Google search is not a perfect as we'd like it to be, and it is something which somewhat requires a little bit of IT knowledge, and we don't want to get our students confused uh, and getting lost with some of the background information on how the technology impacts the results. That's another subject in itself. And this is one of the reasons I didn't show you this slide, because we decided to make it more easy. People were complaining about not having enough IT background, so we sort of uh, weeded it out. We didn't want to mention it, but now I feel that perhaps with the question you have asked and some of the results we are getting, especially when we are doing salary searches and using links to take us to dynamic websites, uh, we do encounter these issues. Any questions on this?
Yes, so
Or
Mr. Navid, based on your explanation, can you go back to the government website again?
yes. Now we will look at how far we can dig in and what we can find. Okay. So coming back to the query, which is what we are forming here.
I want to know, my question is, let's say from that website, if we click any of the job, right? there will be another page showing the job itself. So the URL, is it dynamic or fixed? Is it
Yeah,
considered
I mean, a
dynamic?
portion of it from what I saw going to the website, it seems that it has that dynamic coding in it. Um, but anyway, let's try it out right now. Whatever is cached or whatever is available from Google index, um, those cached pages are searchable. So let's see what it's going to do for us. Okay. I'm not going to make a statement that it will not work. It will, but depending on whatever Google has that it's going to bring from this website, which is publicly visible or is cached pages at least. So is this correct? Is this the type of jobs you're looking for? Remote, freelance? Are
May not
these
have
work?
because you have Index Florida there. Maybe you can put
Sorry,
project manager. You can change
project
the,
manager.
yeah, but remove the Florida, I think.
So if I say project manager, would there be another alternative or
Uh,
program manager?
maybe.
Okay. And let's get rid of this and Florida and salary. Okay. Remote, freelance. In government jobs, I don't think you have freelance jobs,
I
eh?
don't think we have, yeah. Remote also can remove the word remote.
So in text, okay, and I'm going to use another instance of in text here just to create that balance. And now I'm going to run it and see whatever pages are available in Google. It should start to show up. Where is the right? Let's try this. This is correct? Correct. Now it is bringing these results back, as you can see, but we've got 90,400 results. That's a lot. Uh, so you may want to, I mean, we can click on any one of these if you'd like. We can just go see the first one, project manager. So this is mentioning the salary. I want to try the salary part one more time. This looks interesting. So
Yeah, that's
you
why
have,
I have this website because they put the salary range there. So maybe we can try this one to check the first query that you
yeah,
did.
I want to check the range operator with the two dots to see if it is going to work, because this seems to be a site which has the cached pages with this information in there. So I would just put, let's do it here.
So it's working, huh?
Yeah, it works in Singapore. It doesn't work in US. Ah, okay. So I think Yeah, so this could be another example. Now, supposing if you wanted to go to other sites as well in Singapore, that is government. So this is how you write the domains with dot sg at the end usually.
Usually for government is gov.sg or another way is .com and not necessarily .sg behind.
Let me try to find sites. See, here we got 5 results. Now,
Okay.
supposing I want to open it up for any kind of site coming from Singapore government, which has an extension, assuming it's gov.sg. So if I am looking for other opportunities as well, besides just defaulting it to the exact site, I have changed it slightly. Let me copy and paste it first. Okay, an example. So let's say I changed it as I did right now. 30. And let's run it. You can always click on this to get some of the omitted results, which when you click on something that says repeat the search with omitted results included, it opens up more of the subsets of whatever parameters you have given to your search query by giving it slightly more flexibility. So it has that option for you to look for more results. And somehow I see that with my career's future, it seems that it is a very popular site and just keeps showing up quite a bit, even though I did not restrict it to this specific domain, but it is showing mostly the same domain, except for this e-resources, which is different. Now I can see 27 results.
For the commercial website, you can put in .com.sg.
No, maybe what I could do is to lose this part to open it up a little bit. This is the things that you have to keep doing to look for other options as well. So you remove some of the major restraints that could be holding back the, because I remember distinctly it had that a specific figure of $4,000 to 65,000, or 4,000 to 6,500. So it just keeps bringing the same domain, right? I want it changed. So I just want to get rid of this part. Yeah. Now all of a sudden I've got 84,400 results, which is a better search for me to not be restricted to my career's future.gov. However, there is a lot of jobs from this site, but at least it's opened up more of information. I think it should be enough.
So this is a Singapore government job portal, but the job that is posted there is not necessary only for the government company.
Okay, but it has most of the jobs listed on these sites, and then there is this one also, myskillsfuture.gov.sg.
Yes, that one is another website from government that basically give you a lot of details related to your how to build your skill, your career for your career So a lot of content related to their career or job.
Okay.
And also courses.
So maybe we should look at the other one. There is this query which is using the hashtags. Now, hashtags, I told you that there is two types of relationships that the search engine may interpret these hashtags for. One is that it could be a handle in social media, or it could be tags that organize under the headings, the type of information. So that sort of makes it not specific to be accessing only information from social media, but it'll also bring anything that is embedded as information tags to separate or identify with the type of info. So anyway, this seems like something that we can try with twitter.com. I don't, you have to be logged in to do this, but let me try. And there is a range of date as well. I might as well change it to so basically it is saying to bring information. In fact, let me just make it 2020. So 2 years prior. Kind of then. I don't know the heck. Let me just get rid of the Twitter handles, and let me just use LinkedIn. So the hashtags are basically um, there is the copy jobs, proofreaders, copyrights. Okay, copyright. See, these tags, I mean, just because we've been specific about the site, we wrote linkedin.com domain. We went into the domain, we looked at the hashtags and saw that whoever is actually placing or publishing the information on those pages, would place them under the tags like hashtag with the word hiring in it, freelance in it, all those that we have mentioned. So with these tags, it's not like it is bringing information from social media. It is actually looking for the organized information that is going to direct the user by just simply clicking on this. It's really a hyperlink. It's organized as a tag. And when I click on it, it's going to take me to a portion or that part of the information sets that actually are talking about hiring. So this gentleman, like David Roberts, who is the publisher, has organized or directed more of what he's been writing within these tags as an organized information under these headings, because sometimes people search um, the social media accounts by simply using a hashtag followed by the subject. So if it is hashtag jobs or have hashtag freelance, it should take you to that area of LinkedIn. See, now within this tag, you could see that there is reference to other. Basically, they are creating what you call a trail, a trail of where the first publication or where other um, hashtags using the word hiring is used, and this is what it is showing. Okay, someone's personal account, I shouldn't be playing with it too much, but anyway, there is another thing that we can do, is that what happens if we just don't use the site restrictor and we say that we are looking for the these tags to bring information from social media accounts. So without even writing social media account like Facebook or Twitter, I could just use hashtag and the search engine will treat them as handles now, because that's one of the confusions it is well known for, that it would also bring along with the information from social media tags, it is also representing, other tags or the organization uh, um, tags as well, that will be pulled from different websites. But the priority in search is given to social media accounts. So if I go like this, now on the other hand, if I am using hashtag for things like mm, A of IRS, I should be. See, now if I'm using the company, which is, a unique name or a handle, which is not using generic terms or the commonly used, organized words which are typically used with a hashtag like we did with the jobs or technology or none of those words. And we are directing our search to find information about a company or something to do with somebody's personal name, that makes it or that distinguishes it from using it as a standard tags and assuming that this is the social media uh, information related to that person or that company. So if I used AOFIRS with the hashtag, I would get a result as it is appearing right now. Most of the results you will see is social media sites like LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, uh, Tumblr, YouTube. You see, so I can, so if I have to query someone's social media connections or social media accounts, I would just use words which are attributed or typically be directing the search to that specific title or that specific name, which could be an acronym as AOFIRS or could be a name of an individual. You never know. Because these are a lot of times pseudonames or the kind of names people may not find typically as being available. So the handle would tell you when you are actually registering for getting those unique handles to use in your social media accounts. They will be allocated to you based on them not being duplicated or having that unique uh, that specific pseudonym that you can come up with. So if I put AFIRS, I can get to those social media sites. I can also try different pseudonyms, AFIRS if I don't know the handle. So if there was another company, let's say AIIP, perhaps, and I don't know what their social media handle is. So I can just put hashtag AIIP and see what I get. And that would bring me social media connections from this site. So when I did hashtag AIIP, I was able to get Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, all of these are social media accounts, at least most of them. So it is now not going to treat it as typically termed sections or hashtags like technology, for instance. If I do that, this is common, which is used by so many different websites. So they may not be specific to, that 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 social media site. It could actually be bringing information from other websites and portals. So we've got like study.com, bbc.com, so you have to avoid using these words which are for the internal tags that are organizing the information under these specific names, because they are too generic. At the same time, if it is a name, I don't know if I have Naveed. I don't even think I have um, the handle, but let's say Naveed M, Facebook, TikTok. This is not me. Anyway, so I am sure you get the sense of if you have to discover the information coming from or connections with social media with reference to those unique words you have used with hashtag, you would get a lot of information pulled from social media site. So you don't have to specifically mention LinkedIn, Twitter, things like that. You don't restrict it just to by naming those sites. You can just use hashtag and that acronym as I showed you, AFIRS, and name of someone. just keeps doing this. That's the problem. Anyway, I think we are done with the hashtag. Is there any specific type of search you want to do in the social media, which is, typically a lot of students ask about doing some search in social media about something that they feel that they don't want to be specific on the social media um, domain or the website, but generally anything that is available in all those social media accounts to be pulled. So if you can think about something or a term that comes to your mind that we can query in social media accounts to grab all that information, may it be Twitter, may it be, Facebook, we can run that query also, or we can formulate that query. If not, then the information is sufficient about querying the social media, then we'll leave it there. We'll have to look up some more examples with what we have here, which is going to take us to query number 13. Again, it's about jobs. I don't know if it is even worth doing 13. We've done enough on job search. I would rather skip it. You can see what we have in front of us. So the only thing important about this query is that we have uh, given it two different attributes as an optional signs that we want to find with the tag or the word tags in the URL. So we can go directly to any URL that takes us to the section um, of the pages that has these add signs and hash. Because add sign is, besides using it as an email um, notation, it is also used as handles in uh, making it appear as tags. So you can even use at AOFIRS and see, we get a lot of social media connections that is using at sign. Others are using hashtags. So it varies, but because we have these as two options available, so it is going to gather a lot of information under the tags like hiring, jobs, copy editor, all of these. So that's why we have shown at and hashtag together. Okay. In chapter 15, which was um, looking for research papers, specifically research paper. I believe Randy would be interested in this. Um, I don't know who else, but Randy, for sure, scientific research is your subject. So we'll see how we can find information in research papers. Okay. So let's take a break right now. Um, I'll see you in about 10 to 15 minutes. Okay. I'll leave this open. These are the two queries, 16, in fact, three of them, 16, 17, 18, we'll be doing. Okay. If you want to run it on your own during the break, you can try it. So I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, I think we can continue if you're all back. And if you can hear me and my video is clear, please let me know.
Yes, I'm back, Mr. Navid.
Okay, thank you.
And your videos, the video and audio are good.
Okay, thank you. So we can now start. There is this piece of information in the book which could be really worth noticing. In the one that I've opened, I think it's page 237, mainly 237. And you could see that there is a convention, or there is a method to how some of the searches can be restricted to a language or a country. The country part we did previously, and now we're going to try the language part, just to include inside of in URL some of these uh, what we call the abbreviations, or short forms of telling the search to look for a source that is coming from a certain country with a certain language. So let me show you on page 237 something that we can use in queries. We'll do the search papers after this. So let's just look at how the Google, or how typically any URL, not just Google, any URL would be using a convention or ways in which they would mention the country and the language. Sometimes language is sufficient. Sometimes you want to use both the abbreviation for the language and the country together. So if it is the language and the country, you would find that the country code, which, if you're looking at where I'm pointing to, has an abbreviation GB for Great Britain, and then there is a colon sign, and the language is declared, which has an abbreviation EN for, say, English or the UK English. Then we have Turkish. This is Turkey, TR colon TR. They're using both as indicators, or somehow they both have the similar terms used for the country and the language. But whatever is coming first after the is equal to sign is the country, and what comes after the colon sign without leaving any gap between TR first time and the declared language TR again is going to be the second one, which is only going to tell that it is a language that is a restrictor as well as the country. So here TR colon TR is used, here TR colon ZH is used. This is for Turkey English. So there are these conventions, or this formulation of how the searched URLs contain these in a certain manner, as if they are standard followed everywhere in the world. Whoever the programmer is going to use these reference tables like country codes and language codes when they're putting the pages together. At times, with the new way of how the programs are compiled, it does it automatically. But it is discretionary for the programmer to put in there. Even Google is following the same standards. It is again using TR colon ZH, as you can see, and all three are different examples. So supposing if we have to do a search with the query that I just put in, which is query 4 and 5, you could see that we are trying to search something in the .org, .edu sites, .gov sites with the word search engine. We don't want the Wikipedia to show up because it just keeps showing up. We don't want any source coming from Wikipedia, but rather directly coming from these areas. So this restrictor or anything that is going to bring something from Wikipedia, we don't want that. We've used minus sign here. But at the same time, we are asking the search to find something in, or the results should be in Spanish. So if I just want to use the language as a restrictor and not the country, I would use HL is equal to ES. HL is for language. And where I want a restrictor to include something in Turkish from Turkey, the country Turkey, and I want the language to be Turkish, I'll use TR colon TR. Anyway, so the first one I want to run, and I think I tried it quickly here. Let me do it again. See, this is Spanish. So there would be a source or something in the URL that would tell the results to be brought in or from the source that is coming from Spain or has the language Spanish in there. I believe this is Spanish. These are research papers coming from Google Scholar. Again, you would find invariably it will be coming from a source that contains information in Spanish language. Now, if I want something else, let's say Philippines, PH, and Tagalog, TL. Let me try this one. I will use PH:TL. Okay. Maybe this has changed. Let me just do the one that I tried earlier, TR. Turkish and Turkish language. TR. This is Turkish. And if you go to the PDF, it will also have somewhere a source that is coming from Turkey. So this is TR-TR. This is Turkish. Turkish. I'm just looking at the headings, not clicking on it to go deeper and confirm it. I know for a fact it'll all be in Turkish. Even if you don't see it in the title, it'll be in the text. And here you could see also, just looking at the uh, language, I know that this is Turkish language. So this is another thing that you may be able to discover. It was something else I found in the book that I think might be helpful. Uh, this is for your information to, since we are talking about language, when you are running a query that is translated from English to any other language, let's say this is Ukrainian language, and I'm talking about the information that is showing on page 240 of the book. You will get results that are actually, this is another way of getting information from the source that is not necessarily from US, but it could be from US, but it could be a version which is more suited for the Ukrainian side. So when you do translate something in Ukrainian, or supposing you want information from Ukraine, you would write the terms, you translate the terms, use the translator, translate from English to that language, and then insert it in the search box and hit enter. You will get results that are coming from a source which is, in this case, it's a news agency, but this news agency is Ukrainian, or there is a Ukrainian version. Here you see BBC version of Ukraine bringing information on this subject. Okay. But all of these that are returned back to us will not be in the Ukrainian language, but in the English language. The only thing you were able to do with this trick is that you were getting the Ukrainian version of the story. Okay. You compare it with the English language, this is gun control controversy, and you would get similar headlines of information, but it is coming mostly from US news agency. So even if it is BBC Ukraine, there could be BBC UK, there could be BBC USA. So a bigger or a large size of news and media companies, they have sources that, or they have on the ground journalists, or even the editors would like to reformulate it or somehow make slight changes to make it look more localized. Still, it is something that the journalists are very well aware of. But when you are doing or collecting your research paper, you can use the same trick to find, like, certain topics I am not able to get in States or even in North America, because those may be sensitive information, like rocket trajectories, for instance, or something to do with the defense industry. And if I use, even if I want to use it for my academic paper, and I'm studying, let's say, I'm studying aerospace science, I probably won't be able to get a lot of good research available to me, or it could be restricted information. Uh, so I would find the same information perhaps in a better, or in a lot better material if I find the same documents querying it in Ukraine or Eastern Europe somewhere. So those documents are all of a sudden become available to me. A lot of research paper in Eastern European countries are free, or they're very inexpensive. Some are in English, others may be in their local language, but once you get those and you translate that, which is, you can easily do these days. There's a lot of translators. You can see the real material, which could be a lot more information, or perhaps more advanced information, especially in defense industry. So to give you an example, that's just discussing approach apart from writing the query, and where the language might matter. That's important. Um, okay, so let's see what else we can do. And if you want to compare the search results for, oh, by the way, another thing, when you're doing the translation of a title of something, and you are, let's say, taking same example of Ukrainian gun control laws. So there were 3 words we used, but some of the translators don't do a good job in translating it to in a sense, or in a wordy sense, that would convey the same message. So sometimes it's too literal, so the quality of translator is most important. That's what I have experienced, especially with the longer statements or longer titles. I have to be careful on how those are translated, because that in turn would probably not bring as accurate results. Anyway, using the same three words, gun control controversy, if I am using a VPN and I'm using a search, as I'm doing some research right now, so I'm using VPN for another country, I get results coming from that part of the world, that specific country. And when I compare the results that I get for the same exact words, same exact, you remember the filter bubble we talked about, exactly same situation, I would get slightly different results. So for these three words, I got results that are different from when I use the same terms doing search in Canada versus Germany. So this is German. This is the German version, and this is the Canadian. So the ones or the return pages that are boxed are the differentiators or different ones that are not showing up in the search I did in Germany. Okay. See, there's quite a bit of difference for the same wordings. Any questions so far? I hope I'm able to explain so far whatever was the intent for me to deliver to you. I hope it is clear enough. Um, this is part of the complexity of queries. Issues that I picked up are very peculiar or very um, difficult to comprehend sometimes, and you need to read a lot more in terms of text or explanation that we have in the book. So I picked up all those queries, so to bring to you the more highlighted or the more complex things, yet they are important enough that we use them quite often. So that's why these lectures, the previous one, was a little bit more complicated, and perhaps even for you to understand might be a challenge. So at this point, I just want to know thus far, how was, I mean, to what extent you understood it, and where you thought that there were lapses, you couldn't get to the understanding of what is explained. So maybe we can check with asking you individually. Kristen, how is it going for you so far?
I'm understanding everything that you're talking about. I just want to practice and do the searches on my own, and that'll help really make sure I am understanding the finer points of it.
Sure, that will really gel it, bring it together when you practice for sure. But so far you're following, and it is the complexity of searches that at least they are understood
Yeah,
well enough.
I understand it. I understand how all the parts fit together, and sometimes it's just trial and error to get it in the right order for you to get what you're looking for.
Yeah, exactly. And we did that hands-on. We did not rehearse it. It was not choreographed, nothing. We did it as it is, and we figured it out. We tried few things. I guess the idea was to see how I would do my search in a hands-on situation, and where I need to correct something, I would do that. Where things are not working, we accept it, and then we look for alternatives to make it even better. So it is just uh, that the approach is very important in solving or resolving issues that are not bringing the correct result. That is the approach part. Uh, but you have good concepts by now of how certain operators would function either together or alone or others that are not responding properly. Like the two dots, we're having problem with it. There's hardly anything we can control. We only go by what gets returned to us. So no matter what Google says, idea is to try it on your own and see what is working and what isn't. I've got Isha. Isha, what is your take? Taking a quick.
Yeah, Mr. Naveed, before I answer your question, I just want to tell you that while we were in break, I tried with
Mhm.
those two dots. I was looking for job search and I put, the salary range between 65 to 75, and it did show me the results. So it worked, but I didn't try 45, 35 to 45. I tried a different figure and it worked for
Right.
me.
So I'm
And
glad some.
regarding, yeah.
Mhm. Yes, yes. Go ahead, please.
Regarding the complex searches, honestly, I have learned too many new things here because I've never experienced search using search operators in social media sites, and it was really new for me to learn how we can, filter data with the help of hashtags or using specific, symbols. So yeah, it
Mm.
was really really interesting for me.
It's interesting, but very difficult for me to explain at times because there is this technology part which I am not sure if I should, you know, to what extent or what depth I should go in it to explain it, and at the same time not to make it look complicated so that, it sort of becomes a challenge for the students. So from that perspective, the idea was that we can get enough knowledge that we understand what the tags mean and what it means for social media versus what it means for organizing information under under the headings, and where we can avoid using common headings alongside the hashtags to come up with more specific or more unique or more targeted words next to it so that it actually is going to look for them in social media accounts. Otherwise, it is going to think of it with the common terms or the broad headings. It would just be bringing information as if those are the tags that are embedded in the codings or on the pages that are not only social media but other websites as well. Like even our websites has a tags for searching within a certain subject, like articles. For instance, if you go on our site, you're looking for articles, you will see that we have organized them under hashtags to for easy navigation, or just clicking on them would bring all those articles that have or that relate to that specific word, like technology or search engine technology, semantics technology, all hashtag. So when you are doing hashtag search with, let's say, search engine as the word or as the common word search engine together, you obviously are not going to use any word alongside hashtag that has a break in it or it is more than one word. It has to be a word or it has to be a longer piece of information that would not allow any gaps between individual characters, so that it is exactly how the hashtags are supposed to be organized or structured. So when you do that, you would get information coming from AOFIRS site, while your intention was to look for, let's say, the word search engine um, in only social media accounts. But that won't be the restrictor anymore. It'll just collect it from everywhere, including non-social media hashtags. That was the main idea today with doing the hashtag search. Okay.
Yeah, Mr.
Anything?
Naveed, I'm gonna surely practice on this part later in the day, because I find it really interesting, because this is something new for me. We all use hashtags in social media, in websites, but I never thought that we can actually use them as one of the tools, as search tools. And yeah, it's really interesting.
Thank you for the input. So far, Listy, how is it going for you? Anything that you did not understand or the concept was not clear enough? Um,
I understand your explanation, but as like Christian or Isa said, need a lot of practice to get used to all the commands here. And then
right.
last time when I used to build query using Boolean operators, right, I think I found out that some of the syntax are similar. For example, last time to do proximity search, I used near syntax. Now we use around here. So agree, I still need to do a lot of practice. Yeah.
Why would you do near? Near is for Bing. If you're doing Google search, you can only use around.
Okay. Last time
Don't
I used
read.
to for friend watch.
See, thing is that if you're going to read things that are written in articles or blog somewhere that you found on the internet, perhaps that is not the best source, I would say, because even like people are writing articles using certain operators that are no longer used for the past maybe 5 6 years. They're just recycling articles, right? um, so you be careful and to read it with reference to Google search. I haven't talked much about Bing, and we don't like to cover that as much because it's really already there's a lot of information in the book, and it cannot afford to bring the other just
Yeah.
on the same account. Let me just show you something interesting. There are few search engines that you may want to consider using, and that depends on your approach and your needs um, for the type of or for the reason of finding something that it typically is more difficult to do search for using Google. So you can use a better search engine for focus searches in certain areas. I'm testing out two search engines. We've got these contracts from these two people or these two search engines that are asking us to give our opinion. One of them is Andy. It's called andysearch.com. And what is it good for? That's what I'm going to tell you quickly. Like Andy is one search engine that is bringing us a lot better results because it is a meta crawler of sorts, which means that it is bringing or it is doing, first of all, it is collecting search results from main search engines. They're not doing it from Yahoo, but they're using Bing, Yandex, and Google. And once they gather that information, then they do further filtering and basically use all that information to bring to you as an experience of gathering or bringing everything that is discovered from the main search engines. So Andy is doing that. So it is an intermediary sort of search engine that the user can use to not miss index pages in, say, Bing while you're doing your search from your favorite search engine, Google. So this is where you can use these tools. This one, for instance, is actually answering the question. So basically, you remember Google is not a Q&A search engine. Okay. Q&A is a process, or it is kind of a organized way of how the questions are interpreted, which means it has that cognitive lexical intelligence built into it that understands the question and the what you call the the idea behind the question. So it has that artificial intelligence built into it. So if I want to ask a question, I'll get results like, I don't know, maybe what is lexical artificial intelligence? Let's say this is a question. Don't have to put a question mark, but let's suppose we do that. It may be 10 seconds. So there is a little bit of delay because it is now to scoop so much information from all different sources. It's probably not going to reveal the sources, but when you click on the link, it will take you to those pages directly. So I get a lot better results. See, I don't know why the scrolling is not working on this. What's happened to it? Anyway, you can get results that are coming from a news source. You can get images. So I don't know what's happening. Scroll my scroller. Actually, strangely, I don't know if you've experienced it. All of a sudden, my laptop, went into updating the BIOS, which is a hardware piece. Um, on my computer, and it started to upgrade that, or asked me not to touch the computer, and then when it rebooted, it was a statement saying that a BitLocker has locked your hard drive. Now you should contact Microsoft to get a code to open it up. And
sorry, the scroll is working. You see, there's this gray small thing. Not that. You move to the left a bit. How should
this
I
one,
say? No. Where's your cursor? Okay, scroll. No, down a
this is
bit.
the cursor.
No, not okay. Just now, can you show your screen again? The previous screen.
Okay, this one.
Yes, you see the near the. There's,
Oh, there it is.
yeah,
It was
yes.
hiding behind. Okay, so I'm glad you looked it up. Thank you for that. Uh, so you see, I see a very good quality information, which otherwise, even I'm not even sure Google is going to even show those pages to me. Sometimes, you have to get through the clutter of results to get to these, but these are finer results, more of an more information. It's more expressive, and so this is one example. And then there is another one that we are working on. This is called u.com. See, AI is now really shaping up nicely for all of us. It is going to be a huge change. Anything that today is really evolved in the user friendly way, or it has become so much easier now with the algorithms that are doing a lot better job digging into the databases, looking into the HTML pages, is the AI concept, which is what is making our experience better. Because these are, I guess, medium to small size companies, and they're more on the innovation side. These people are actually easy to work with, and you'll see more of the changes and more newer things showing up with these small companies. Google has the financial strength and it has the muscle to actually implement a more sophisticated version of AI, but it takes a long time for them to implement it. This is why they are lagging slightly behind. That's the reason they also acquire companies quickly. But anyway, for now, who knows? Maybe this will be acquired later, but it's doing a job for me to explore how I'm able to get to the actual info. So if I had the same search done on u.com, what was my query? Was this one. If I use the same thing with AI here, I would get different results. So who is to say which is better, which is not? Between Andy and u.com, and both have their ways of finding something which, even though different, but for me as a researcher, it covers a lot of ground. If I do searches individually, in both, with both of these search engines.
So does it mean that you also take result from Bing, Yandex, and Google?
Yes. Yandex is my favorite. I feel that it has an edge over Google somewhat in certain areas. Baidu, on the other hand, is another one that I do searches if I'm, trying to find something within China or, um, even Hong Kong. Uh, in Singapore also, it is able to grab certain pages which otherwise I can't find if I'm doing search with Google. So, this continues. This will be something you have to discover on your own. But if you really, really have to do your research with a very broad, I guess, with an approach that covers a lot of different tools, using different, ways of getting the information, including certain databases to which you should have access to, or know whether or not, know where they exist, and to organize those links. That's when you are really in control. Otherwise, it's so huge, and the data is, there's so much information around, that gathering of information sometimes is not as difficult for us, but then to look at all those results, and it's like you're going to a candy shop and you have so much money to spend, and there's so many different candies that you want to get, and at the same time you have to be selective. So it is like a candy store these days. To get to those pages, they're exciting, they bring, and they give a perspective that you didn't even think you had about certain research issues or problems, and then all of a sudden you find that there is a different angle to it. There's people in different regions that look at issues in a manner which is, different from what we are used to in North America. So world is too big, it's all global these days, and all these search engines and information highways are just something that is, on one hand, brings more confusion and more clutter in your life for you to resolve, because the more the information, the more your brain is going to get scattered in different directions. So to stay focused, stay on the dot of what your client requires, staying within the scope of your research work, that's what is really important. Anyway, I don't know where this came about, but I thought I'd mention. We're still on the search queries. My God, they never finish. You've got so many in the book, and if you had to only practice within, and believe me, some of the queries were good when the book was published, and today they may not bring the same results, or they may even fail. But what I have taught you, and what my intent was, is to bring to your attention methods and ways in which you can make some corrections to make them work, or to, you know put them in a better, give them a better structure. This is what is important. It's not showing you, giving you water. It's showing you where the well is, so you can actually do things on your own. um, I'm going to just scroll through this one, and this is where the research part comes in. I think I'd like to take, it's a lot of talking for me. So I'm going to take another 5 minutes break if you don't mind. And then you're there. Um, where is Randy? Randy, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
So
Can you hear me?
I just want, I didn't want to forget you. So I want to know your perspective so far, everything you're comprehending. Um,
Yeah,
anything?
understand. Yeah, I understand everything you're saying pretty well. And for me, it's a little, although sometimes not so little, new things. For example, the two things, absolutely new things that I learned today was the language and country search, but also this Andy thing, which you started talking about it, and I popped in a couple of queries into the Andy search, and it returned much more relevant results to than I'd experienced in Google. So
Correct.
those two things alone, yeah, those are fine, very good.
Yeah, so these, and because they're not, some of the things that I mentioned are not um, scripted as in a typical course or how the flow of information should be. Uh, but because they occur, based on something that, I could easily get to and then give it the reference or give it the context, um, it becomes worthwhile. Otherwise, you know, it's it's a lot of information. You see, this is
Yeah.
not just Google, it's just the information world is too big. Okay, so I'm going to do 21, 22, 23 is what I've selected. Um, Anything that I missed out earlier is not as relevant. The few queries which are not worth talking about, and we have so much time. So I'm going to do something that especially Randy had mentioned about finding research papers. Okay, so just give me 5 to 7 minutes. I need to take a break. I'm a little bit, um, I need that. So I'll see you in about 5 to 7 minutes. Thank you. On the other hand, I'm sorry, I think I miscalculated. We are almost over, like 10 minutes over, and it's a lot of information. So if you are all there still, let's just finish it because it's not worth. I miscalculated. I'm sorry. It's over 8 o'clock. It's 10 past 8 here. So might as well get these few done. You there? Everyone, Kristen, Isha, Listy, Randall.
Yes, Mr. Naveed, I'm here.
Yes.
Okay. Isha, Listy, Christine. All right. Randall is not there, I believe.
I'm here.
And this is, you're there. Okay. Yeah, might as well finish it. It's 10 minutes past 8 o'clock. So we should get done. It's otherwise it's not worth taking the break. Quickly, I'm going to show you. And perhaps Randall, you can try it on your own as much as we can do. We'll just show you. The query 20, in fact, let me just give it to you as a homework. 21 to 24. These four queries, they are not very difficult, but what is important is for you to understand where we have used around operator versus where we have used um, in URL along with around operator. Um, the important thing that you will discover is that you can run other operators along with the around as if it is not an absolute command that requires another instance of around with it. For example, what I'm trying to say here is that first, in URL, in text, these are the operators you can use, and others as well, with the around operator. Okay, but the only thing I would avoid using, and this is going to be on record, so that you have the something as a reference, and that you can later on confirm, as well as keep it as a rule of sorts, which otherwise you will not find in the book. That's why I want to run this one query here. I'm just going to mention the rules. I'm not going to run the query today, but these are important rules. So whenever you're using around, okay, you can use other operators, but you don't use things like, let's say, semantics, or don't use or. Okay, don't use or. Okay, don't use or where you have around. So this is what I want you to avoid. Okay. But you can use in-text, in URL, and other commands, but booleans are not suggested here. The search is not going to perform well. It will. It has the only thing that really sometimes annoys me is that Google is trying to bring you the results no matter what. They want to show that your search was successful, but when you actually look at the results, you find that the search engine is playing with you, just making you believe that you have the information, but not the quality of information, or the accuracy of the results will not be there. So sometimes the search, you will find it is bringing the results, but yes, Isha, go ahead.
Mr. Naveed,
I'm
you
listening.
mentioned that we can't use, yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, you mentioned that we can't use Boolean operators, so which means any of these three, right? And or not. We should not be
Yes.
using when we are, okay, okay.
Using around, when you're using around, not a good idea to use it. I mean, there is a logic to it, but for now, let's assume that this is the rule for now. I would be happy to answer it in the next class, why it is so. But why perhaps at this point is not as important as the rule itself, which says that to get a better accurate result with around, you can use other operators, that is non-booleans, as shown here. But another thing that you cannot do is that you cannot use another instance of around. Okay. So if you had to put something as if you're trying to find a relation, or a relationship of terms, which could be, let's say, let's suppose you will not be able to use it this way. Same thing, you cannot put the two instances of around with the OR. Okay. Let me just remove this 2017 from here. So this would be incorrect. What is correct is the original query itself. Ah. So you can test drive it 21 through, because we don't have enough time now left for this kind of um, examples anymore. We must start with traditional research method in the next class. So let's just call it a day is enough for you to absorb. Uh, and I would like to see you day after tomorrow. If you have questions with the, some of the examples we have that I showed you, you can test it out and bring the questions back into the class. So thanks again. Um, all the best. See you day after. Thank you for attending today.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Navi.
Mr.
Thank you.
Naveed.
Bye bye,
Bye bye,
everyone. Bye bye.
everyone.
Bye bye. By the way, before it's Randy, if you have questions for research paper specific to what you search for typically, please let me know. I would spend about 10 minutes when we get to the next class, just so that I cover things for you that you had mentioned as search for your interest. Thank you so much again. Bye bye.